People have asked, what's the ideal structure? Turns out the structure of lowest energy is the one which has the lowest surface area. So you want to pack those bubbles together like this in such a way that they use a minimum amount of surface area.
This particular puzzle was one which had been effectively open for about 100 years. We then sat down with our rather powerful computers here in Trinity and started to do the calculations, to visualize these particular structures, work out, are these better or worse than the original Kelvin solution. And as Denis said, on a rather glorious date, I think it was December 1993, we kind of got the number on the screen and realized, this is actually better than Kelvin.
Now, having sort of made that grid, places where gardens, water and other things sort of come into the plan, but the rest of the grid is occupied with these modules, which are primarily the classrooms. Around a small intimate courtyard that is privately used by these 3 classrooms. It's got a small playground and a small area for outdoor activities, and the idea that, of course, the great Sanjay Mohe talks about the idea of participatory space, where because of the way you articulate sections, you feel completely connected and participating even visually, that you get this wonderful sense of being part of a larger community and its memory.
La arquitectura escolar es una forma silenciosa de enseñanza, dice George Mesnin, que solo le asignan el rol dominante. A modo de ejemplo, la escuela como contenedor que genera poder disciplinario, dice Anthony Giddens.
Education is changing, and today, the way kids are learning, that's changing at a faster rate, and it's evolving like no other point in history. Our school buildings haven't changed. The advancements in education are not being followed by advancements in the environments where we're supposed to learn. The first problem is that the people who are meant to use the space, that's the teachers and the students, they're not consulted at all. They're not involved in this design process, right? They're just asked to make do with whatever's given to them. What that means is that the environment isn't actually tailored for their needs. So not only do we have the potential for a really bad fit, but to compound that problem, this school building was designed to last 100 years. It's not going to change, and it's going to make it nearly impossible for the educators and the students to do anything new.
Und die soziale Rolle ist, dass die Vitalität der Bevölkerung gestützt wird, nicht nur im Heim, sondern schon von der Geburtsklinik an, sind die Krippe, die Kindergarten, die Schule, den Hörsaal der Universität. Sie bauen hier 2 neue Universitäten oder 3 in Österreich. Ich glaube, alle diese Dinge sind Milieugestaltung. Der Architekt umgibt den Menschen von der Geburt an bis zum Grab.
This is an interesting text because it's been co-created with practitioners, with users, using our own research findings from Design Matters to create a document which will be of value to head teachers particularly as they try and think through the issues in designing a new school. There's an assumption that all you need is, as it were, a square box and that one size will fit all. It doesn't. The best designed schools are schools in which the people who are going to occupy it have a very clear view about what it is they want to do as practitioners.
Teachers want to use the school design as an educational tool.
How are you going to expect teachers to teach and how the space will flow for that to happen? For me, that is the vital part that I think that you really need to get that understanding, and that's got to be driven by your philosophy and your pedagogy.
There are some issues that have only come up since we've had full occupancy of the building. For example, how some of the sound travels, general background noise and how that affects some children. I've not found a student that says they enjoy being in a big, loud environment. They all enjoy somewhere quiet where they can concentrate. I think even to have a quiet space that as a teacher you can rotate children into for different parts of lessons would be really helpful.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this part of the world, people never heard the term of design or architecture. The problem is we are copying the Western model, but we don't know the story of it, and we don't own the means to make it in the proper way.
Working with the community, Kerry and his team have created projects that function better with adequate lighting and adequate ventilation. they appropriate this particular context.
It is an idea of natural ventilation, having opening on the top for light and the air to circulate very freely.
And because of the water channel here, you invariably get a lovely draft of cool wind as you come into this cool breeze that sort of flows through this building.
And the goal of this is to improve literacy, numeracy skills, logical thinking, to have them communicate effectively in diverse contexts, social skills, spiritual and moral values. And they'll also be looking at hygiene, appropriate sanitation and nutrition, ethical behavior and good citizenship, as well as applied digital literacy skills in communication and learning. So this is to ensure there's a holistic program. When it comes to the other stage of this is now lower secondary. This is between the grades 7 and 9 to explore their own abilities. This is really the beginning of self-discovery.
The most building material in my part of the world is clay. And we have some problem with it, with more than 160 other pupils. You can imagine the temperature inside a building like that when it is 40 degrees outside. School bricks for Gando, because I had the idea to build a school for my people. And I came home, said to my people, I have $50,000, let's build a school. And the next day I said to my people, we're going to use clay. And I'm show you how we make it. From the beginning, they was rejecting what I had as an idea. At the beginning, they were saying, we just want to have a concrete building because a school is something from France and it has to be made by concrete. When you have a vision, a good idea, you can fight for it. When I started my school project, I built for 120 children. Now, I am building a big high school in my home village because we are about 1,500. And this is.
But we find that the sensibility of the English tour architecture is really so underdeveloped. And this one has to perhaps blame all the aesthetic control that our generation has suffered, that they've been driven back onto preservation of old buildings, feeling that this was the only architecture worth having.